Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Today, as you can probably tell from the title, we are gonna just sit and chat all things girl talk. I haven't filmed one of these videos in forever, and they're literally some of my favorites to film. I love just like sitting down with you guys and just chatting through anything and everything. I'm such an open book here on my channel, as I'm sure you probably know if you've been here for a while. But I've got my cup of tea. It's raining outside. I'm just gonna sit and do my makeup. I did actually do a full like in-depth get ready with me on my channel really recently, so if you do want to know about the products that I'm using, I will try and link everything down below, but I will also leave the get ready with me video linked. So if you want to find out where anything's from or what I really think of things, then definitely go over and watch that video, and I speak more about everything in depth. But this video I want to focus on answering your guys' questions. So I asked over on my Instagram the other day for any like dilemmas you guys might have, or topics you want me to talk about, or just like generic kind of girl talk questions. So I'm gonna get them all up on my phone and we are just gonna sit, have a little chat. I hope this is one of those videos that you can kind of just stick on, chill out. So I've just found all of the questions. So this girl was asked, do you use long-term contraception such as the pill or the injection? So while I answer this one, I am gonna start off with my eyebrows. So I personally don't use any contraception. I mean in terms of like long term, so as the girl said, like the pill or the injection or something. I went on the pill when I was younger. I think I was 16 when I went on it, because that was when I lost my virginity and it was just the time to go on it, you know. So I did that. I went through about, I think honestly about 5 or 6 different pills, and just none of them agreed with me. I basically just came to terms with the fact that any contraception that was going to kind of pump hormones into my body just was not for me. And I don't think many people, like as you're growing up and obviously as you go on the pill and stuff, I feel like it's the most commonly used contraception, like going on the pill. Obviously I'm no expert, so please take this all with like a pinch of salt, and if you genuinely feel like something might be wrong with your contraception, it's not necessarily agreeing with you, then I just urge you to like go and speak to somebody professional about it, and I'm sure you'll be able to find like other options that work for you. But I personally think that at that age where you're like maybe 15, 16, 17 and you're going through so many hormonal changes anyway, and then when you go on the pill, that's literally just pumping like so many more hormones into your body that your body probably isn't ready for, if that makes sense. So don't be surprised if like you go on the pill and then you feel all these hormonal changes. And I was just affected so negatively by it. I just turned into a completely different person. I was either like crazy angry or crazy sad for what seemed to be no reason. Like I couldn't ever explain how I was feeling. I didn't know why I was feeling like that. I always kind of put it down to just hormones, as in like, oh, I'm growing up, like I'm just not feeling myself right now and it will pass. But it just went on for too long, and I was like, no, I just feel like there's something else going on here. And then I spoke to someone about my pill and what I was on and how I'd like tried out all of these other ones, and they were like, that's probably why you're feeling not yourself right now. I was like, oh my god, yeah, that makes so much sense. So yeah, if you are going through that and you do feel like your contraception, like whatever version it is, whether it's the injection or the coil or whatever releases hormones, then speak to someone about it, because wow, that was so loud. Yeah, you might be able to find something that works so much better for you. Like for example, I know that the copper coil doesn't release any hormones at all, so that is something that I've looked into before, but to be honest, the thought of it kind of freaks me out. So I'm just not fussed really about going on like any long-term contraception. I just use other ways and means of not getting pregnant, let's say. So yeah, long story short, to answer your question, I personally am not on anything in terms of long-term contraception, but if you are and you're struggling with it, then just have a look into other ways and means of contraception, because there is so much out there, and I'm sure you'll be able to find something that does work for you personally. Did you outgrow any of your friends? Feel like I'm in a completely different stage? Yes. This is so normal. Like I feel like everyone goes through this, especially as you get older. Like I'm 23. Why do I have to think about my age then? Everyone, your 20s is so weird. Like everyone is at a completely different stage of their life. I've got some friends engaged, some are having babies, some are like just finished uni. Like everyone's at so many different stages in life. It's kind of weird. But that is just your 20s, I feel like. Everyone takes a different path. But in terms of outgrowing friends, it's so normal. Like it's bound to happen to everyone. Especially if you are at different points in your life, then maybe maturity levels are a bit different, or interest. Don't worry about outgrowing friends. Like the ones that are meant to be in your life will always find their way back in, and that's something I've definitely learned over the last couple of years. Also, with that being said, it doesn't mean you're going to lose all your friends and then that's kind of it. You will obviously find people that you relate to so much more, like whether it's through work or friends of friends. You're always gonna find people in life that are at your stage and you do feel like you can relate to so much more, like I say. On the same topic, someone has said, I drifted from my friends whilst at uni and I don't know how to rebuild those friendships. Help. So I would say, like, there are so many friends that I've had that I've got back in contact with after they've come home from uni, and I do get that at the start, like, you kind of have to find your common ground again. Like, I've been very lucky, and everyone that I've met back up with, it's literally been like we've not seen each other for 24 hours when in actual fact it's been literally years. So I do think sometimes you will find people that you just instantly kind of click with again, and it's like nothing ever changed, but then sometimes it does take a little bit of effort from both parts, which is totally fine. Like, I think it's just, like you say, finding your common ground again, and I guess finding things that you can enjoy together and like talk about. But definitely the first thing I would say to do is reach out to people. If there are people that you want to get back in contact with and see how they're doing, then literally just like send them a text, go out for a drink or something. Just keep it really casual. I feel like 9 times out of 10 we're probably more worried about what it's potentially going to be like as opposed to then what it is like. I don't have a lot of girlfriends. Is this odd? No, I really do not think it's odd at all. I know there's some people out there that have a lot of friends, and that's totally fine too. Like, if you have a lot of friends or you don't have a lot of friends and you have quite a close circle, then that's fine. Like, especially as you get older, I genuinely think you just value your friends so much more, and the people that are in your life are, 1, meant to be there, but 2, are kind of there for a reason. I definitely have different people in my life that I turn to for different reasons, and I think if that means that you have 1 friend, 2 friends, 3 friends, 20 friends, it's really relevant. I would say all you want to focus on is having the best people in your life that are going to uplift you and not gonna kind of be like an effort. I know that sounds quite harsh, but you know, some relationships are just a little bit intense to keep up, so you just don't need that. So especially even if you don't feel like you have that right now, trust me, there's always something around the corner. You're always bound to meet someone, I feel like. Just remember that people walk in and out of your life at the right time for a specific reason, and even though that reason is probably quite unclear when it happens, there will be one, so just keep waiting. Someone asked, when did you start your period? And I think I was nearly 16. I think it was 2 weeks before my 16th birthday, which I personally think is kind of late. I really don't know what like the average age is, but a lot of my friends started when they were like 12 to 13, and yeah, I guess I was quite late to that. Oh my god, someone says, do you have any cellulite and do you struggle with not being bothered by it if you do? Hun, everyone on this planet, every woman, most men have cellulite. It is completely normal. It's just not something that is like overly picked up in photos, like especially when I'm posing. It's never going to be in my pictures because I'm standing in a certain way, like my body's posed. So when my body's relaxed and I'm just sitting here chilling, there is cellulite there, and oh my god, no, I'm not bothered by it, because that is something that you could literally physically not change even if you wanted to, or maybe you can. I mean, I feel like you can do anything in this world. It's actually crazy, but yeah, I'm not fazed by things that I would have to go to such extremes to change, because it's just not worth it for me, which yeah, just leads me to not be that bothered by it, I guess. By the way, there's a mirror over here, which is why I'm looking over that way. But oh my god, everyone has cellulite. It's so normal. It's so unavoidable as well, and also I really don't think it's as bad as everyone thinks. Like, if it does bother you, I don't know why it should, because there could be worse things. Like, you could be a really horrible person, you could be unkind, you could be mean. That to me is worse than having a little bit of cellulite on the back of my legs or my bum. Do you know what I mean? Oh, okay, someone said, would you rather be natural for the rest of your life or wear makeup for the rest of your life? Honestly, natural. I love makeup and I love putting it on, as in I love the process of it and everything, but I rarely wear it. Like, in my day-to-day life, I very rarely wear makeup, which is why when I vlog and stuff, you'll probably see me barefaced half of the time. So much so actually that I had got so used to not wearing makeup, especially through lockdown, when I'm literally not saying anyone there's no point. I went to put sun cream on the other day, and I'd done a full face of makeup to film, and I literally put so much sun cream in my hands and just rubbed it all over my face, and I was like, oh my god, I'm wearing a full face of makeup, and suddenly realised I'm more about like the no makeup life. It's just so much easier. I definitely don't rely on it as much, so I would rather be barefaced for the rest of my life. Right, on to a couple more kind of juicy questions related to me personally. So I'm going to kind of expose myself here, but it's in aid of like trying to help you guys and just being open, you know. So someone has asked, because I think I mentioned this in a video with my mum, where did you get the morning after pill and why did you take it? I feel like why I took it is probably quite self-explanatory, but I just went to a local pharmacy. I think I went to Lloyd's pharmacy. If you're from the UK, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I went with my friend. She actually pretended to be me the first time because I was too scared and didn't know like what to say. Always use contraception. If something goes horrendously wrong, then great, like there is another option there, but yeah, just don't rely on it. It's not worth it. Yeah, that was like my first experience of it. She came out with the pill and I took it. Literally nothing happened, but hopefully that answers your question. If you do need to get it, then you can literally just go to like your local pharmacy. I think you can go to your GP, but some places make you pay. So when I went to Lloyd's, I didn't have to pay anything, and then I think I went to my local GP in like my local town. I think I had to pay like 20 something pounds. I don't know why you have to pay sometimes and why you don't. I have no idea. On to another little taboo topic, which I feel like people are uneasy talking about, so if you don't want to talk about it, feel free to skip this because I totally understand. But equally, if it helps one of you out there, then great, I've done my job. Someone has asked about masturbating. Do you masturbate? And I'm gonna leave the question there. I personally don't. Now, this is something that I've spoken to so many of my friends about, because a lot of people, whenever a girl says like, oh, I personally don't masturbate, they're like, yeah, whatever, like of course you do. And I'm like, no, I literally don't. Like, it's just not something I choose to do, which is as equally fine as if you choose to do it. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that choose to do it and maybe want to be a little bit more secretive about it, which is fine. If you want to openly speak about it, that's fine, but also just don't assume that everyone does and the people that are saying they don't are lying, because I'm not lying. I do not do it. I just personally don't choose to. Obviously I am in a long-term relationship, so maybe that is like a contributing factor to it. I've not been single for 7 years, so I can't speak for single Emily. I don't know what she would be doing. Yeah, I personally just don't. It's not something I do. Someone asked, did your first time hurt? I briefly touched on this. Me and George spoke about it in a Get Ready With Us that we did on her channel like ages ago, and I had a completely different experience to what she had. I'm not going to speak for her. If you want to find out about it, then you can go and watch that video. But yeah, I did not hurt. I was absolutely fine with mine. It's one of those things that literally everyone has a completely different experience with. Like, no one will ever have the same experience. There's no like written rule book for it. All I would say is make sure you are with someone that you are comfortable with, like just period anyway. Make sure you're with someone you're comfortable with. But equally, if it does hurt or anything, it just doesn't feel right, then you can say no, you can stop, you can get yourself out of that situation, because it's not worth it. Like, don't ever go through that and think, oh, it kind of hurts, like this is normal, everyone says this, let's just carry on. If it hurts, there might be a reason to just quit it, reevaluate the situation. And yeah, but personally, no, it didn't hurt at all. I don't know why that is. People say if you're a gymnast or you were a horse rider when you were younger, which I was both of those, that can be a contributor to it, but I'm really not sure how much that is just a myth. What's your opinion on going back to an ex if you both want to be back together? I don't see an issue with that. If you both want to be back together and the relationship was healthy at the start, then why not? I do kind of think there must be a reason why you've broken up, so maybe like consider that before you just commit to anything again. But if you both openly want to be back together, then why not? Like, who's saying that you can't be? It doesn't sound like there's a lot wrong there, but if there was like a big specific reason that you broke up, then think about that first. And then if you still want to be with that person, amazing. If it makes you kind of second guess it, then question why and then reevaluate. How to deal with toxic friends. Cut them out of your life. You do not need toxic people in your life. I know I've briefly touched on this, but it's so important. Like, you just don't need them. There is nothing worse than being friends with someone and like going and seeing them and literally feeling drained when you come away from seeing them. I've had that so much over like growing up and just meeting new people, becoming friends with people, learning who they are, and then just being like, okay, bye, like I really don't need you in my life. It just happens. Like, it's so normal. It happens to everyone, and it's not worth your energy. The energy that goes into keeping toxic friends happy is unbelievable. Like, it's not worth it. But again, I think it's one of those things that as you get older and you've got so many other things to focus on, you don't have time for it anyway, so it's just impossible to like keep up with that and keep up with the drama that some people bring. It's just not worth it. So our period leaks are normal. When I had them before pregnancy, I was so insecure. Oh my god, they're so normal. If it hasn't happened to you, then well done you, because that is tricky. Almost monthly, I genuinely feel like I go through that. It's just a nightmare. Sometimes I wonder as women what we did to deserve having a period every single month, because it is just how I absolutely hate it, and I wish it wasn't a thing, but it is. We all go through it. We all feel exactly the same. So yeah, period leaks are so normal, and it's just one of them things. Like, it happens, it's natural, it's so unavoidable sometimes. And I also think that if it happens like around your boyfriend's house or a guy that you're seeing, it's a really good like tester to see how they react to something like that. Because if they react like really immaturely and they're like, oh my god, ew, like it's blood, it's disgusting, then that says a lot more about them. And honey, you don't need that in your life. You need someone that's going to be like mature about it and just make you feel comfortable. Like, it's not your fault at the end of the day. It's not as if you've gone, oh my god, I'm going to sit on his bed, make sure I'm really heavy and just leak everywhere. No one does that. So yeah, if they react well and they're just like, oh my god, don't worry about it, like, do you need anything, da da da, amazing, they're the one for you. I think again that is something that is so much more common than you would think. For example, like, my periods are so ridiculously heavy. Again, I know I'm not the only one and everybody else will feel this way at some point, but on the first couple of days it's literally unavoidable for me to do that. I mean, I'm literally here with like 2 pads, a Super Plus tampon, like loving my life, not, and somehow I'll still manage to leak. So yeah, it's one of them things you've just got to be prepared, especially if you're out and about. That is like my worst fear, is going outside while I'm on my period, because anything could go wrong and it just freaks me out. But at the end of the day, it's normal. Like I say, it happens to the best of us. Okay, so my makeup is now complete. I just thought I would answer one more question before I leave you guys, because this one came up a lot and it was basically worded in so many different ways, but all to do with like cramps on your period, what you do if you have a heavy flow. I know I briefly touched on my period earlier on in the video because mine is horrendous, as like I'm sure so many of you guys relate. It's just long, it is well over a week, it is so heavy, it is so painful. There are just so many aspects to it that I literally hate, apart from knowing that I'm not pregnant this month. But in terms of a heavy flow and cramps, I actually tried out this medication which you can go on, which I'm sure does work for some people, but it didn't work for me. I feel like many medications just don't agree with my body and just make me feel all types of weird, so it's just not a good mix for me. But it's called, like, I'm gonna put it on the screen because I don't want to get the name wrong, but it's some type of like name that has acid at the end. That's all I can remember, but it's basically meant to lighten your flow and also then in turn like get rid of your cramps a little bit, like just ease them. It obviously never gets rid of them completely, but it is meant to ease the pain that you experience. But personally for me, and I'm not a medical professional, so I'm not entirely sure how it does work or how it's meant to work, but where it was essentially lightening my flow, I personally just felt weird about like where all of that was kind of going, if that makes sense. Like, obviously if I go from having a really heavy period, therefore like having a heavy flow, and then I take a tablet and then suddenly I don't have a heavy flow, I just couldn't get my head around where that blood, I guess, had gone. So I just didn't really understand it, but after a while it just made me feel like so bloated and so uncomfortable, and I'm assuming that it was just because everything was still kind of caught up inside me. I have no idea. I literally could be completely saying this wrong. So again, like with everything in this video, please always speak to someone that is a professional and knows exactly what they're talking about, because that is not me. This is all just completely personal opinions and experiences. But yeah, that didn't work for me. All I would say is, again, what I said before, if you do have heavy periods, then use a pad and use a tampon. I know a lot of people use kind of like liners, but I do personally think that having that extra coverage of a full-on pad is going to be your lifesaver. So yeah, that would be my advice, I guess. And also in terms of the cramps, I personally just keep dosed up on tablets. I make sure I take ibuprofen regularly or Feminax or something like that, just to keep on top of the pains. I definitely have to do that for the first 2 days, and then I'm usually okay by the end of that. If I'm not, I'll opt for a hot water bottle or a nice bath. That always tends to sort things out. But yeah, they are all the questions that I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this little chat. I feel like we got quite personal at some points in this, but I quite enjoyed it. I love just being like open with you guys. Like I say, if it helps one person, then I feel like I've done my job. Also, like I said before, if you are interested in the makeup that I used on my face today, I'll leave the other video linked down below so you can kind of see everything in a lot more depth, and I also speak through every single product. That being said, I am going to wrap this video up here. If you enjoyed it and you want to see more in the future, please feel free to hit subscribe. I'll also leave my Instagram down below if you want to go and follow me over there. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll speak to you all very soon in my next one. Bye guys.